You're going to love this. Trust me.
So, you've beaten Moonlord, explored every biome, and modded Terraria until your world has more guns than grass. But what if I told you there's a version of Terraria that turns the entire game into a guided RPG experience with a storyline, class quests, an item crafting system, a character leveling system, in-game mapping, skills with trees, passive skill trees with trees. Wait, no, not that. All tied together with the global leaderboards and a trade system? Sounds too good to be true, right? Wrong. Welcome to Path of Terraria, one of the most ambitious Terraria overhaul mods out there. This isn't just another content dump. It's a full-on reimagining of what Terraria can be. In today's video, we're diving headfirst into everything that Path of Terraria brings to the table. Timestamps are available for your convenience, so grab a cold one, kick back, and let's jump into one of the wildest Terraria mods out there. A quick disclaimer before we get started, this video is intended to showcase the features and systems of the Path of Terraria mod and give players a clear idea of what to expect. It is not a beginner's guide and may contain story and gameplay spoilers. In Path of Terraria, progression takes a sharp turn from traditional boss rushes into full-blown ARPG territory. It's not just about crafting gear and defeating bosses, it's about growing your character through quests, experience, class choices, and a dynamic skill tree. Instead of simply tackling bosses in order, you're drawn into a story-driven progression system. If you want to go fight the Eye of Cthulhu, you'll first need to investigate the corruption, collect lunar shards for Eldrick, and help the town alchemist brew a special potion. Every completed quest introduces new mechanics, unlocks gear recipes, and even opens up new areas such as entire subworlds for boss events. From the very beginning, you're asked to choose a class path: melee, ranged, magic, or summoner. Each of these are tied to a unique NPC in the town of Ravencrest. So for example, you're going to speak to Thrain Ironfist to complete the Forging a New Blade quest. This will unlock the Berserk skill after you fix his forge and slay some zombies. Or maybe you want to assist Alara the Hunter in drawing the bow to earn the Rain of Arrows skill. Completing at least one of these class quests is required to move the story forward, specifically unlocking Garrick, who is a major quest NPC. And as you explore and fight, you're going to be earning experience points, and every level grants you a skill point. These can be spent in the robust skill tree that blends active abilities and passive upgrades, allowing deep specialization or flexible hybrid builds. NPCs like Eldritch, Garrick, the Old Man, and many others serve as quest hubs, each with their own specific arcs and world-altering tasks. In Path of Terraria, character progression feels straight ripped out of an ARPG, and nowhere is that more obvious than the skill system. Every class unlocks unique skills, but it doesn't stop there. Each skill has a full-blown specialization tree and augmentation system, letting you shape your build in powerful and personal ways. Take the Nova skill for example. Once unlocked, you don't just use it as is, you choose a specialization. Maybe you want to fire Nova for raw power and burn damage, or maybe you want Frost Nova to slow enemies down. Each skill has multiple specializations that completely change the nature of the skill. Then comes the skill's passive points, which are the diamonds. These passives will further customize your skill. You can increase area of effect, reduce cooldowns, buff debuffs, or go all in on damage at the cost of mana. But we're not done yet. Enter skill augmentations. These are itemized, drop-based orbs that you can slot into your skills. These are lootable upgrades that add effects like proliferation to spread debuffs, or overload for more damage, or critical strike multipliers. These augmentations are global drops and can apply to any skill, but their effectiveness will vary. As you can tell, skills aren't just tools, they're a core part of your build, with level ups granting skill points and augment orbs adding loot-based flexibility. The system rewards both planning and exploration. As of right now, there are just a few skills available, but there are many more to come. If you're feeling inspired, be sure to hop into the Path of Terraria Discord and submit your skill suggestions. If you thought the skill system in Path of Terraria didn't feel inspired by RPGs, then this passive skill tree makes that connection crystal clear. Every time you level up, you will earn a passive skill point, and this is where they go. This tree is your long-term character development, filled with impactful passive bonuses and class-defining traits. You'll start from the central node, then branch outward into themed clusters, offering buffs to things like melee damage, attributes, whip speed, maximum life, movement speed, and much more. Most nodes can be upgraded multiple times, allowing you to specialize deeply or spread out strategically. You will also find notable passives that can drastically change your build, such as Crimson Dance, which will allow your melee attacks to inflict stacks of bleed, or Glancing Blows, which will change your build's block mechanics substantially. And you're not locked into a class either. You want to play a hybrid summon caster or a glass cannon archer? You can build it. Whether you want to become a frost mage that summons sentries or a berserker with lifesteal and thorns, Path of Terraria gives you the freedom to craft your own identity. There's no one right way to build. So experiment, take some risks. That's what makes this ARPG style progression so damn satisfying. One of the biggest departures from vanilla Terraria in Path of Terraria is the overhaul of gear and itemization. In the mod, gear includes everything that you can equip. This includes all weapon types, armors such as head, chest, legs, and shield, rings, and amulets. Gear comes in 4 tiers, with each tier granting the item affixes or modifiers which grant the character additional bonuses. For example, common items have no modifiers, but magic items have up to 2 affixes, rare items have up to 4 affixes, and unique items will have a fixed set of powerful affixes. These affixes drastically alter how a weapon or armor performs. Think things like lifesteal or elemental effects, attributes, or even granting your character skills and much more. But even classic Terraria gear can be used, but in Path of Terraria, it can be upgraded via the currency system. We'll talk more about the crafting system in the next section, but this ensures that iron swords aren't just an early game fallback item. They can be built upon, refined, and customized. Among the many new items comes a new take on weapons. Weapons can also spawn with new interesting effects. For example, this broadsword has the line, right click to summon a spirit from your blade that lunges forward, healing you for 15 health on hitting an enemy. So as I right click, you'll see that the spirit goes forward. If I were to hit an enemy, I would get back 15 health. This also has a cooldown indicated by the bar below your character. That way you can easily know whenever your right click is available again. This system adds a new layer of build diversity in Terraria, and comes with endless development and possibilities. Loot drops are tied to enemy difficulty, boss encounters, and even special quests. This creates a feedback loop. Explore, slay monsters, loot, customize, and repeat. This is classic ARPG behavior. And this system turns every item drop into a strategic choice. It's not just loot, it's part of your build's journey. And that level of customization is what transforms Path of Terraria from a sandbox game into what feels like a fully fledged ARPG. One of Path of Terraria's most impressive additions is the currency-based crafting system. Instead of simple recipes, you're dealing with shards, which are special currency items that let you transform, reroll, or upgrade almost any piece of gear. Shards are obtained by looting monsters, completing quests, or trading in the auction house. They can be used on gear to enhance its power or rarity. Each shard type performs a different function. Unfolding shards will upgrade a common item into a magic item. Mystic shards will turn a common item into a rare item. Glimmering shards will reroll the modifiers on a magic item. Shifting shards will reroll the mods on a rare item. Radiant shards will reroll the values of affixes on magic, rare, or unique gear. Ascendant shards will add a new affix to an item with an available slot. Limpet shards will strip all affixes from magic or rare gear, converting it into a common item. Echoing shards will create a clone copy of a magic or rare piece of gear, and corruption shards will corrupt an item, adding a random, powerful, implicit affix, but you also have a chance to break your item. Each shard will play a key role in optimizing your gear and building advanced equipment. Whenever you loot gear from foes or bosses, the item will drop with random affixes, depending on its rarity. You can then use shards to re-roll or upgrade it, creating your path to perfect items. So for example, let's say you just started your journey and you were able to pick up a steel broadsword. This is currently just a common item, and this is doing just fine for you right now. Upon completing your first quest, you were able to get an unfolding shard. This is going to upgrade your normal item into a magic item. Magic items can have up to 2 affixes. This one happened to roll with 2. Maybe you're not super impressed with the stats that it gets. In this case, we're going to use Glimmering Shards. This will re-roll the affixes on our magic item. So I was able to get attack speed on this item. This is something I really want. But again, magic items can have up to 2 affixes. From here, we can use an Ascendant Shard. This is going to add a new affix to the item. We did hit intelligence, which doesn't really do anything for us here, but for now this will suffice. Now along our journey, we actually found another sword, and this one just dropped as a rare item. However, I am not a poison build at all, as well as rare items can have up to 4 affixes. In this case, I would want to use a shifting shard. This will reroll the modifiers on a rare item. This one's looking a bit better than my current sword, so I'm going to keep this. And if I want to get real crazy with it, I can use a corruption shard. This has a chance to add an additional affix onto our item, giving it 5 affixes. This does have the corruption tag, which does disable any future item interaction, so I can't use any other currency on this item once it has the corruption tag. And as a side note, there are different interactions with like unique items. If I were to use this corruption shard on a unique item, it has a chance to turn it into a rare item. You also have a large chance to do nothing. So let's do it. In this case, you can see the corruption was successful. We added 19 maximum life onto the sword, and it now has the corruption tag. I would only recommend corrupting an item if you have a backup. This crafting system really transforms gear drops into opportunities. With shards, you're not just finding loot, you're crafting your own tools for your own build in your own way. Once you've completed the main storyline and gathered enough power through quests, skills, and gear, Path of Terraria introduces a robust endgame through its mapping system. In this system, you collect maps as items, which act like keys to new worlds. Each map opens a customized subworld with a set difficulty, enemy modifiers, and bosses. These aren't just regular zones either. They come with increased loot drops, unique challenges, and sometimes even exclusive content or encounters. Each map has tiers, modifiers, and rewards that scale with difficulty. You can also craft, re-roll, or enhance these maps through currency items. Mapping becomes your primary activity in the late game, and it offers infinite progression potential through randomized layouts, loot, and enemy variants. Think of it as Terraria's version of dungeon runs, but with the modularity and customization of an ARPG. It also introduces robust multiplayer features like the global auction house and global leaderboards, bringing competitive and collaborative elements into the experience. Once you subscribe to Path of Terraria Online, you can access the auction house via the official website or via the in-game trade UI. This allows players to buy, sell, and trade gear using the in-game currency shards. You can list items, set prices in different shards, view your current listings, and even filter through others' listings. This gives the game an ARPG style economy where players trade gear to optimize their builds, clear their inventory, or become virtually wealthy. Want to compete? Leaderboards will automatically record your progress and performance. You just need to register on the Path of Terraria website and then link your Steam account. Your stats will be automatically uploaded whenever you switch between subworlds or upon save and exit. You can also manually post them by typing in /post stats. The system aims to prevent cheating via a player flagging framework, ensuring fair competition. Whether you're racing through quests or diving into the in-game maps, your performance becomes part of the official leaderboard, letting you compare build, speed, and progression globally. Trading and leaderboards inject a competitive, community-driven layer into Path of Terraria. It's not just about personal progress, but how you stack up, how you trade, and build differently from others. That social ARPG loop rounds out what this mod uniquely brings to the table. When entering the world with a new character, you're immediately prompted with a welcome tutorial. I highly recommend completing this if it's your first time playing Path of Terraria. Let's go through it together now. Hello, welcome to Path of Terraria. This mod changes the game significantly. As such, this guide will explain the changes, mechanics, and what to look out for. First, the experience bar. It's directly above this dialogue. Enemies drop experience, usually depending on how strong they are, which allows you to level up. Leveling up provides you with a passive point and a skill point. Click on the experience bar to open up the passive tree. So you can see our experience bar is up here. Here you can see the passive tree. If you have a passive point, you can allocate them to the passives of your choosing. These passives provide bonus to various effects such as life, damage, or speed. Click on any passive to allocate it and right click to deallocate. So you can see I can left click right click, left click, right click. As of right now, there is no refund cost. There's no penalty. You can change your skill tree whenever you want. Now click on the skill tab in the top left. Here is the skills tab. Here you can select and deselect certain abilities, allowing you to change up your gameplay significantly. In the future, skills will be obtained through a progression system instead of this menu. We can click on any skill to select it. So I'm going to click on Berserk here. You can see it is going to give us an effect where we'll deal 150% more damage while taking a bit more damage. This is going to have a 5-second duration with a 30-second cooldown. So we're going to click it one time. This is going to put it onto our hotbar, right? So you can see it. It's on my queue currently. So we're going to hit that hotkey under the given skill to use it. If nothing is under the skill, you'll need to go into your settings and make sure that you allocate a hotkey for that skill. It's also important to note that some abilities will require a specific item to be held. For example, if you're going to use the Nova skill, you have to be holding a magic weapon. Hovering over a skill will show you any of the conditions that need to be met in order to use that skill. For example, you can see that this Berserk skill does require us to use a sword weapon. So now you can see if I use that skill, the cooldown starts. I have this cool little aura around here. We call this Goku mode. Next up, the hotbar has changed substantially as well. You'll see when the first hotbar slot is selected, the hotbar is in combat mode. This means this bar right here, this block is our first hotbar. This one is our second hotbar. So in our combat mode, in our first slot, you can see we have our skills, we have potions, we have the weapon that we're currently on, that sort of thing. If we press the number 2, or we move to our second slot, this is going to give us our pickaxe, axes, additional items that we have on our bar for crafting or whatever it may be. Now, weapons can only be equipped in the first hotbar slot. Additionally, weapons can be hot swapped. So what that means is currently I have on a sword. If I wanted to use a second weapon, right, say I have this bow, I can actually hot swap to it. So currently the key for me to hot swap is X. Yours is probably Z by default. So I'm going to press X. You can see that we now no longer have a weapon here because we're on our back bar. We're on our second weapon slot, essentially. So now we put that bow there. While we're in combat, you can see in the top left, now we have our bow. Maybe I want to fight, a certain critter and I want to switch to my melee weapon. I can now just press it on my keyboard, that X button. I can switch freely between the different weapons. Moving on, your character has a few additional stats in Path of Terraria. These can be found in the character sheet, which displays all of your stats, such as life and experience. We can open this sheet with the toggle stat page. Be sure you find that hotkey in your settings. Mine is currently on F2, so I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So you can see my character name, what level I am, XP, potions, damage reduction, tons of different stats. You can hover over any of these attributes and they'll tell you the additional stats that you get. If you get a ton of strength, it's going to give you a bunch of additional max life. Next is the questing system. Next to the minimap, there is a check-marked book. Clicking it or using the quest key will open up the quest book. You do have to be in your inventory essentially in order to get to these additional books. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up that quest book for you. Once again, it just shows you current quest that you have and what you need to do for that quest. So as you can see for our first quest, we did get this Raven pop up. We are going to follow the Raven. It's going to take us to the entrance to Raven Crest. And that essentially completes the tutorial. There is one more step here once you actually get to the statue, but I'm going to simulate that just by hitting skip all. This is going to give you the arcane obelisk, completing the tutorial. I'll be honest, Path of Terraria was my very first dive into Terraria. I've never played the base game, and I've never touched another Terraria mod until now. And honestly, I'm glad that this is where I started. I never thought that survival platforming games were for me. The slower pace and constant crafting, it never clicked. Add to the fact that I'm completely colorblind, and the thought of searching for blue ore in a purple biome or trying to spot literally anything during the night was enough to just make me anxious. So I'll admit, it took me a few attempts before this game really pulled me in. The early game is dense. There's a lot of crafting, building, and NPCs to figure out. At its core, Path of Terraria is still very much Terraria, and that means you have to learn its systems from the ground up. But the thing that really kept me going, the thing that helped me learn was the quest line. Having direction while still being able to explore at my own pace made a huge difference. And what really hooked me were the ARPG mechanics, leveling up, customizing my skills, crafting with currency. That's my comfort zone. So while I was getting my footing in the world of Terraria, I could fall back on what I know, grinding XP, farming enemies, using currency to upgrade my gear. When I finally figured out how to open that first boss portal to King Slime and actually won the fight, it felt earned. It felt like a proper ARPG victory. Now keep in mind this game is still in beta, and yes, I ran into a few bugs. But here's the thing, every issue I reported got addressed faster than I've seen most AAA games. The dev team led by Scotty is the real deal. They're passionate, responsive, and genuinely care about the experience that they're creating. That kind of dedication is really rare, and it's what makes Path of Terraria more than just a mod. It feels like a game that's truly alive and evolving, and I'm honestly honored to be a part of this community at such an early stage. I've got a lot more to explore, and I can't wait to keep sharing the journey with everyone. Path of Terraria open beta begins on Friday, August 8th, but you can get access now by simply joining the official Path of Terraria Discord. It's the Scotty Knows Mods Discord, and leave a message in the Path of Terraria general chat that you're interested in being a tester. I encourage you to only join if you're interested in actively playing, testing, and reporting bugs, as this is a tester role. If you'd like to see more Path of Terraria or other Terraria content as I keep learning and growing with the game, drop a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.